So guys, I know you're excited for the Extrait de Parfum version of Bois Imperial from the House of Essential Parfum. I reported on it on my communities page here on YouTube and also on Instagram. But when I found out about it, I was gifted a small size lab sample of Bois Imperial, and I've been testing it out. And I'm going to report to you all the details on this upcoming fragrance because I know you guys are very excited about it from the likes on the posts. I know you're anticipating it. I believe it's selling in Europe already. If you want to find out all about Bois Imperial Extrait and how it compares to the original in the EDP, please stick around and I'll let you know. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian. I'm talking to you about the latest release from the House of Essential Parfum called Bois Imperial Extrait. It's a Extrait de Parfum version of the original Bois Imperial in the Eau De Parfum concentration from 2020. So according to my research, the original in EDP was 16% concentration, so Eau De Parfum. The new version that I've been testing out here that you'll be able to get in the near future if you're in the USA, I think it's launching in November sometime here in the USA. That is a 32% concentration. So basically what they've done is doubled the concentration of the fragrance from Eau de Parfum in the original format and Extrait de Parfum in the new version. So it's 32% concentration, so it's pretty intense for an Extrait de Parfum. And this is Essential Parfum. Their fragrances are fairly inexpensive. So you get a 100 ml bottle for $89. The case of the Extrait de Parfum version of Bois Imperial, which is soon to launch, it's a 30 ml bottle. I don't have a dollar price yet, but the euro price is 130 euros. So here's a little bit of math and how it works out. With the 100 ml, it's $89 plus tax. It's about $100. So it's like $97 with tax. So you're paying almost $1 per milliliter for this fragrance. But with the new extract, it's a 30 ml. That's the only size it comes in. It's Extrait de Parfum, obviously, but the euro price is 130. So I'm actually calculating the 130. Let's say it's 130, which I doubt it's going to be 130. I think it might be closer to $150 in the States, but I'm calculating that as a dollar price. So per mil price figures out to be about $5 per mil. So it's like 4 times more expensive. So it's going to be a quite pricey version of the original, but it's an Extrait de Parfum. It's 32% and it's very, very long lasting. So once I get the price on the dollars, in dollars, I will report back on this and let you guys know. But for now, the calculations are off the euros. And for example, if it's 130 euros or dollars, and you add the tax to it, you're paying about $4.75 per mil, so almost $5. But again, it'll be around $150 when it launches here in the States. So it's a 2024 launch. Quentin Bisch is a perfumer of both. I would call the Extrait de Parfum version a woody ambery fragrance, and I would call the original in EDP a woody spicy. I don't get much amber from the original, but it does settle to a bit of an ambery experience in the base. So it does warm up a little bit. But for me, the Extrait de Parfum, when I was testing it out, it's a lot warmer, it's a lot more ambery. So there's a lot more amber happening. And it makes sense to intensify the fragrance, to give it more depth. They have added amber in the notes, although it's created with Labdanum. And so the Labdanum acts as the amber accord. So it's black pepper, Timut pepper, rose, leather notes, Atlas cedar, fir balsam, and Labdanum. So there's rose featured in this version. There's no rose featured in the original version. But if you're afraid of rose, don't worry. This rose doesn't appear as much. Unless you're extremely, extremely sensitive, then you'll pick it up perhaps. But when I was testing this out, it's not a lot of rose. You'll smell it, but the rose takes a backseat. It's there to just take you from the top notes of the spices, the black pepper and Timut pepper. Gets a little rosy in the heart notes, then it takes you to more woods and amber when it's drying down in the base notes. So it does get leathery. There's leather notes here for sure. Leather, amber, and lots of woods is basically the experience with a lot of spices. So you'll be reminded of the original for sure. It does remind you of the original, but it's not as fresh. Even though it's fresh, this version, the Extrait de Parfum, does get ambery, so it warms up. The original is a lot fresher for me and a lot more airier. So it's intensified here, made into an Extrait de Parfum, so they're using less alcohol and more oils. So that's why it's acting a lot more dense in comparison to the original. And the original, I feel like, for me, it does remind me of Ganymede, but I also feel like it's kind of a cross between some of the work of Quentin Bisch, his signature to go in. It reminds me of Ganymede, but it also reminds me a little bit of B683 from the same house. And throw in some additional things that Quentin Bisch does for some of the niche world. So it's picking and choosing things. So it's not identical to Ganymede, but it hints at it for sure. People are reminded of that. So it's basically a workaround or a change up of Ganymede to create Bois Imperial for the House of Essential Parfums. So what do I think about the new version? Let me have you guys guess. What do you guys think? So I'm a big fan of Extrait de Parfum fragrances, and I feel like this year it's the year of Extrait de Parfum. So many brands are launching Extrait de Parfum fragrances, some of existing fragrances, some of brand new fragrances. For example, Une Nuit Nomade came out with Jardin de Misfa Extrait de Parfum. One of my all-time favorite fragrances has been made into an Extrait de Parfum, but they also launched two new fragrances, Silver Saffron and the Estrella, the Vanilla Estrella fragrance, which is kind of leathery and smoky. So they launched those. Then we've got fragrances from d'Orsay, the Tonka Hysteria, an amazing Extrait de Parfum. Of course, Maison Crivelli launches a lot of Extrait de Parfum fragrances, including fragrances created by Quentin Bisch. So it makes sense that we're getting Extrait de Parfum from Essential Parfums, and of course their most popular. I feel like Bois Imperial is probably or most likely the most popular fragrance from this house. So usually when there's a really popular fragrance, they're gonna kind of like take advantage of the situation and give us something that we might want to pick up in addition to what we're used to. Also, I'm uncertain if the Extrait de Parfum is going to be a refillable bottle. No, it is going to be a refillable bottle. So I met up with Geraldine, the owner of the brand, at Pitti FRAGRANZE, and we shot a quick video, which I'll add to this video. Her and I talking about Bois Imperial Extrait, and of course the latest release that came out before Bois Imperial Extrait, Neroli Botanica. So we chatted a bit about those two, and I recall seeing that there is a refill. So the bottles did not used to be refilled. This is not a refill bottle. But now all of the bottles from Essential Parfums are recyclable, refillable. So you don't have to throw your bottle away. You basically get a refill. It costs less, you get more, and it's less waste and things like that. So, I mean, a lot of people go through fragrances pretty quickly because they're not like me where it's full of different perfumes. I'm not wearing it and like using up everything. So it's kind of good that some brands, or a lot of brands, are doing the whole refill thing and, you know, the recyclable bottles and all that kind of stuff. But I am really digging the ambery touches of Bois Imperial Extrait, and I think for me that's the difference. It's the fact that it has amber and it's not as airy as the original. So it's got that depth. It's got the warmth that's been added to the fragrance, which basically they took the original and they added it to it. So when they do something like that, it changes the smell, definitely. I mean, when I was working on the 54 fragrance, we tried two different concentrations, of 20% and 22%, and they were so different from the two. So fragrances do change quite a bit, and you'll notice it. And that's kind of what's happened here with this fragrance, because they're giving you a lot more perfume oil versus the EDP. So it smells different. Less alcohol, so the fragrance takes on a different styling, a different characteristic. Perhaps they've also added amber in here to begin with, but it does change in smell when you're doing a fragrance at one concentration versus a different concentration. But this new version, I think, will satisfy a lot of folks who want something stronger. It's really, really long lasting, also very, very oily. So it lingers on and on and on and on. You'll always be reminded of the original, but of course this one has much changes added to it. I mean, noses are different, so they'll smell things differently. For me, it smells like the original, and it smells different at the same time, which totally makes sense because they've changed it and intensified it and also increased the concentration on it. But I think this will be very, very popular. I know some of you probably are not into beast mode. This is beast mode. Really, really intense, really oily, really concentrated. You might stick with the original. And some of you don't like amber. This has that amber touch for sure. So you probably will skip this one out. But then some of you want that intensity. Grab this one because it is really long lasting. The thing is with the Extrait de Parfum fragrances that come in smaller bottles, they come in smaller bottles because it's also more expensive to make. The juice, you know, the oils and things like that, it's much more expensive. So they're giving you a smaller bottle because it's so much more expensive if they gave you 100 ml. And obviously it's $4.71 or $4.75 per mil on this with the euro price. So if they gave you 100, this thing would be so much more expensive. So just multiply 30 ml times, no, I'm sorry, 130 times 3, that's going to give you a 90 ml, and it's going to be $390. So they give you a smaller bottle because it's a lot more expensive if they gave you, you know, the larger size. And it makes sense because it also lasts longer, and you don't use as much. But still, I use a lot because this stuff really, really is a improvement upon the original, even though it reminds me of the original with some minor changes. Let's quickly smell the differences and then we'll wrap up the video. But if you're a fan of the original Bois Imperial, let me know. And I don't have too much left of this. I've worn it and really enjoyed it. Original is a lot airier, but also I feel like there's minerally touches here, which is very similar to the minerally touches of Ganymede. I don't get the minerally touches though with the Extrait. The Extrait is a lot stronger, a lot denser, and a lot more amber focused. And in the background, you get the whole experience. It's so good, guys. It's really, really great. I want to compare it to also Ganymede Extrait from Marc-Antoine Barrois. I feel like this Extrait is a lot stronger than Ganymede Extrait. So that might actually satisfy some folks. If they got Ganymede Extrait and it didn't kind of like... Because Marc-Antoine Barrois has B683 Extrait, which I thought was beast mode. But I felt like Ganymede Extrait turned out to be not as strong and dense. Here with Bois Imperial Extrait, it's a lot stronger. A lot more dense. But I think it's quality work from Quentin Bisch. Guys, fans of Quentin Bisch's work, let me know. Put a comment down below. But this is going to satisfy a lot of folks out there. I think people are going to be happy with it. It's launching at a time when people are wearing stronger fragrances. Plus, it's from a house that doesn't have very expensive fragrances, even though the Extrait de Parfum is a lot more expensive compared to the EDP fragrances. Almost $1 per mil versus almost $5 per mil. So the prices are different, but I think this will satisfy a lot of folks. And Quentin Bisch has a lot of fans. Bois Imperial is a very popular fragrance. So I think Essential Parfums, personally, in my book, has a winner here. But let me know if you've gotten your nose on this one yet, those of you that are in Europe, because I see that it's selling there. And looking forward to this launching or dropping here in the States. But let me know if you're excited for this or you're just going to stick to the original in EDP. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching today's video on Bois Imperial Extrait from Essential Parfums. Should be dropping soon. I think sometime in November, if not early December, from for the USA. But I believe it's selling in Europe right now. So again, those of you that are in the EU, have you sampled it yet? Did you get yourself a bottle? Or are you going to skip this one out? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Okay, I'm here with Geraldine of Essential Parfums. She's already got a new fragrance called Neroli Botanica, created by Anne Flippo, who I'm a big fan of. But there's something new coming as well that Geraldine is going to tell us about. Oh, God, but before we get to that, let us know about Neroli Botanica.
So I wanted a Neroli, but I didn't want a Neroli of kids. You know, the chic Androgyne green Neroli, and Anne Flippo did it perfectly.
Great perfumer. I admire her work.
Yeah, she's the master, and Neroli is actually her favorite ingredient.
Really?
Yeah.
She does do white flowers quite a bit.
Yes. So there's a lot of white flowers inside.
Okay.
It's very nice.
It's nice. It's out on the market and selling now?
It's in the market in the US and selling now on a website, and it's doing fantastically well.
And you've done a whole overhaul of your bottles.
Yes.
Changed everything up.
Yeah, we changed. It's sharper. It's the logo is under. It becomes more chic, and the price didn't change.
Okay. And it's a refillable bottle.
Yes, we have to protect our planet as
Yes.
much as we can. But if you want to buy another bottle, it's fine. You just take it out and put it in the glass case,
Oh.
which
Okay.
you cannot do when it's cool.
Oh. Okay. Good thought. Now tell us about this new thing right here.
So this new thing, we don't present Bois Imperial by Quentin, which is the absolute superstar essential parfum. And we're creating the extrait parfum. So the good thing is actually 32% concentration.
Whoa. An extrait de parfum of Bois Imperial.
Yeah, so it's actually the double the concentration of the Eau De Parfum.
So 16 to 32.
Yes.
So this is beast mode.
So that's, but the difficulty is that Eau De Parfum is already super strong, so we added a new story to it. You smelled it.
Yes. What did you change about it?
Well, it's more leathery. There's a rose facet to it, and you really have Eau De Parfum, which is the day perfume, and the extrait, which is the night.
So you graduate to something more intense at night, but you wear the Eau De Parfum during the day.
Yes.
Awesome. When does this come out?
And November in Europe, and probably December in the US.
Great. It's really good, guys. Quentin Bisch is really great. He did a great job of this. It smells a little different than the original. So stay tuned for that, and thank you so much.
Merci.
Merci
Thank
beaucoup.
you.
Au revoir.
Bye.